This movie fooled police into thinking aliens were real, but that wasn't even the weirdest thing that happened behind the cameras. Independence Day exploded into theaters in 1996, grossing over $817 million worldwide, but making this film was just as crazy as the alien invasion itself. Here are 20 incredible facts about Independence Day that will surprise even the biggest fans. First UFO panic across California. While testing a helicopter covered in glowing lights, the Independence Day crew accidentally triggered a massive UFO panic across California. The aircraft had sophisticated lighting rigs that pulsed and changed colors. Over 150 people spotted the mysterious lights and called police, convinced they were witnessing an actual alien encounter. People reported lights moving in ways that defied physics. Police dispatched patrol units with cameras, prepared to document genuine extraterrestrial contact. When officers discovered it was just movie magic, they gave the crew stern warnings. 2. The military walked away over Area 51. The U.S. military offered comprehensive support, uniforms, fighter jets, equipment, and military bases. The Pentagon was excited about the patriotic themes. Then they read the script and discovered Area 51 sequences. Military officials demanded every reference to the classified installation be removed. No secret bases, no alien research, no conspiracy theories. Director Roland Emmerich and writer Dean Devlin refused. Area 51 was fundamental to their story. When filmmakers wouldn't budge, the military withdrew all support. The production had to create their own equipment. Area 51 stayed and became the film's most memorable location. 3. Jeff Goldblum's improvised genius. The incredible chemistry between Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith wasn't just good acting. Much was completely improvised. Goldblum made up over half his dialogue while cameras rolled. This was especially true during alien ship sequences. Those nervous jokes, scientific observations, and mutual encouragement, almost entirely improvised. Goldblum's famous stuttering, fast-talking delivery wasn't originally written. His neurotic energy perfectly balanced Smith's cool confidence. He also developed natural chemistry with Judd Hirsch, who played his father. Their conversations felt like real family interactions because most arguments and jokes were improvised rather than scripted. 4. The President Nobody Expected. Bill Pullman's iconic President Whitmore wasn't the original choice. The character was specifically written for Kevin Spacey, with director Roland Emmerich envisioning a more intellectual, calculating president. Emmerich admired Spacey's intense performances in The Usual Suspects and wanted that cerebral intensity. The role was crafted with Spacey's acting strengths in mind. However, studio executives worried Spacey lacked star power for a major summer blockbuster. They questioned whether audiences would accept him as an action hero. Bill Pullman brought different energy, more earnest and traditionally heroic. His emotional journey became one of cinema's most beloved fictional presidents. 5. Lebanon's political ban. Independence Day faced serious controversy in Lebanon over a single 30-second scene showing an Israeli pilot joining the international coalition fighting aliens. This scene illustrated the movie's theme of global unity, that humanity's political differences become irrelevant when faced with extinction. Israeli pilots worked alongside American and British forces. However, Lebanon had strict sensitivities about positive portrayals of Israeli military forces. Some officials demanded the movie be banned entirely. Others suggested editing out the scene. The debate lasted weeks, with different political groups taking various positions. The film had only limited release in Lebanon. 6. Almost called Doomsday. The title Independence Day wasn't guaranteed. Legal issues with another studio nearly forced them to use Doomsday. The original title seemed perfect. It matched the July 4th climax and reinforced patriotic themes. However, clearing the rights became a legal nightmare. Doomsday was the backup option. While still dramatic, it would have given the film a darker, more pessimistic identity. Instead of focusing on hope and victory, it emphasized apocalyptic destruction. Director Roland Emmerich fought hard to keep Independence Day, even adding more patriotic elements. The battle was worth it. Independence Day became iconic. 7. Shakespeare inspired the speech. President Whitmore's famous pre-battle speech wasn't just patriotic rhetoric. It was directly inspired by one of the greatest motivational speeches in English literature. The writers based it on the St. Crispin's Day speech from William Shakespeare's Henry V, written over 400 years ago. In Shakespeare's play, A young king addresses his outnumbered army before a seemingly hopeless battle against French forces. He reminds them they fight not for wealth or power, but for honor and brotherhood that will bind them together forever. The Independence Day writers wanted to capture that same transformation of desperate individuals into a unified force, fighting for something greater than themselves. They adapted Shakespeare's rhetorical structure and emotional beats for their modern sci-fi epic. The result elevated Independence Day from typical disaster movie to something with unexpected literary depth. Shakespeare's timeless themes of courage and unity translated perfectly from medieval warfare to alien invasion. 8. Borrowed sets from other movies. Those impressive military command centers, government facilities, and secret laboratories weren't built from scratch. The production used clever recycling tactics, borrowing sets from other movies and TV shows to save massive amounts of time and money. Many military hallways came from previous action shows, government offices were repurposed from detective dramas, and even parts of Area 51 used walls and floors from other sci-fi projects. Production designers were masters at taking existing sets and completely transforming them with new paint, furniture arrangements, and props. This approach saved hundreds of thousands of dollars that could be redirected towards special effects and alien designs, the real stars of the show. The recycling was so effective that most viewers never noticed, with each location looking specifically designed for Independence Day's story. Smart resource management allowed them to focus budget on the spectacular destruction sequences that made the movie famous. 9. Racing against Mars attacks. Independence Day's frantic production pace wasn't just ambitious scheduling. They were desperately racing another alien invasion movie to theaters. Tim Burton's Mars Attacks featured the same basic premise: aliens attacking Earth with an ensemble cast and big budget. However, the films took opposite approaches. Independence Day was serious and inspirational, while Mars Attacks was satirical comedy. Studios knew only one alien invasion movie could dominate the summer box office. To win the race, the Independence Day team compressed their entire schedule, working around the clock in shifts. The special effects team pulled all-nighters to meet impossible deadlines, finishing shots in weeks that normally took months. The pressure was intense, but pushed everyone to peak performance. Independence Day reached theaters first in July 1996 and became a massive hit. Mars Attacks arrived later, but couldn't compete with Independence Day's cultural dominance. The aggressive strategy paid off brilliantly. 10th Spanish TV caused real panic. A movie trailer in Spain accidentally caused genuine public panic when it aired looking exactly like authentic breaking news coverage. The advertisement showed alien ships destroying cities with realistic news graphics, urgent alerts, and serious anchor-style narration. The crucial mistake: the TV station didn't immediately identify it as movie marketing. For several minutes, Spanish viewers believed they were watching legitimate news coverage of an actual alien invasion happening in real time. Police stations were flooded with calls from panicked citizens asking for official information and evacuation instructions. People contacted news centers, demanding to know what the government was doing about the crisis. Some rushed outside to scan the skies for alien spacecraft. TV stations had to make emergency announcements explaining it was just a movie advertisement. The production values were so sophisticated that the trailer was indistinguishable from real news coverage, proving the film's special effects were convincingly realistic. 11th filmed The Speech on July 4th. In one of cinema's most remarkable coincidences, President Whitmore's famous July 4th speech was actually filmed on Independence Day itself, completely by accident. The shooting schedule had changed countless times during production due to actor availability, location conflicts, and equipment needs. Scenes were constantly moved around based on dozens of logistical factors common in major Hollywood productions. When the final schedule was locked, they discovered they'd be filming the most patriotic speech in movie history on America's actual Freedom Holiday. Cast and crew got goosebumps when they realized the symbolic perfection of the timing. They were making a film about fighting for independence and freedom on the exact day Americans celebrate those same values. The coincidence felt like destiny, adding emotional weight that enhanced everyone's performance. It was one of those rare moments where fiction and reality aligned in an almost magical way that nobody could have planned. 12th, Real White House Explosion. The iconic White House destruction that became the movie's visual symbol wasn't created with computer graphics. It was a meticulously crafted physical model. blown up with real explosives. The special effects team built a detailed 5-foot replica of the White House, including every architectural element visible on camera. They spent weeks researching the building's design, ensuring accurate proportions for windows, columns, and structural details. The model was equipped with interior lighting, hidden smoke machines, and carefully positioned pyrotechnic charges. They filmed the explosion in slow motion using high-speed cameras, capturing every detail of the destruction. In the mid-1990s, computer effects often looked artificial, especially for complex destruction involving fire and smoke. The crew felt real flames and debris would look more convincing than early digital effects. The practical approach worked spectacularly. That single explosion became the most recognizable image from the entire film and helped establish Independence Day's reputation for stunning visual effects. 13. Will Smith wasn't the studio's choice. Today, it's impossible to imagine Independence Day without Will Smith's charismatic performance, but the studio initially resisted casting him. Executives worried about putting a young black actor in the lead role of a major summer blockbuster, concerned about international box office appeal. In the mid-1990s, some studio officials believed films with white leading men performed better in overseas markets, crucial for global profitability. They questioned whether international audiences would support Smith despite his obvious talent and growing popularity from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin completely disagreed, believing Smith was perfect for the role. They felt so strongly that they threatened to walk away from the entire project if they couldn't cast him. The bold ultimatum worked. Smith's performance became one of the movie's greatest strengths, helping make Independence Day a global phenomenon and proving the studio's concerns completely wrong. 14. Mothership crashed computers. The massive alien mothership created serious technical problems that nearly derailed production. At over 500 kilometers wide, the digital model was so large and complex that it kept crashing the special effects team's computer systems. Remember, this was the mid-1990s when computer processing power was far weaker than today's technology. Every time they tried to render the complete mothership, their systems would freeze, crash, or take impossibly long to complete simple tasks. The crew had to develop creative solutions, breaking the enormous design into smaller, manageable digital pieces that could be animated separately and combined later. They also had to carefully plan every shot involving the ship to work within their technical limitations. The mothership's entrance scenes were filmed slowly, partly for dramatic effect, but also because their computers literally couldn't handle showing it any other way. The technical challenges actually enhanced the ship's menacing presence. 15th last stand of miniature models. Independence Day marked the end of an era, being one of the last major films to rely heavily on physical miniature models instead of computer graphics. The production featured over 150 hand-built miniature sets, including detailed replicas of buildings, city streets, and famous landmarks. Each model was meticulously crafted, with incredible attention to detail. The miniature Empire State Building, White House, and various city blocks were carefully constructed, then dramatically destroyed using real explosives, while high-speed cameras captured every frame. Instead of relying on digital effects, they filmed actual destruction with real fire, smoke, and debris. The results were so impressive that Independence Day won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. 16. Brent Spiner's transformation. The wild-haired scientist, Dr. Brakish Okun, working in Area 51, was played by Brent Spiner, but many viewers didn't recognize the actor behind the eccentric character. Spiner was already famous for playing Data, the emotionless android on Star Trek: The Next Generation. The transformation was so complete that fans of the serious, logical Data couldn't believe this was the same actor. In Independence Day, Spiner's character was loud, messy, energetic, and bursting with manic enthusiasm, the complete opposite of his Star Trek role. His bizarre performance became one of the movie's most memorable elements, proving how versatile talented actors can be when given the chance to completely reinvent themselves. 17th, Alien Suit Nightmare. The realistic-looking aliens weren't entirely computer-generated. Many close-up scenes featured actors wearing elaborate, handcrafted alien costumes. These suits were designed to look genuinely terrifying and lifelike, but they were absolute torture for the performers inside them. The alien suits were thick, heavy, and had virtually no ventilation. They featured long limbs, slimy-looking skin textures, and oversized heads that made movement extremely difficult. Heat built up rapidly under the hot studio lights, turning the suits into personal saunas. Some actors actually fainted from heat exhaustion during filming, while others had to stop every few minutes to cool down and hydrate. 18th War of the Worlds inspiration. Independence Day's climactic victory through a computer virus wasn't entirely original. It was a clever update of H.G. Wells' classic 1898 novel, The War of the Worlds. In Wells's story, technologically superior Martian invaders seem unstoppable until they're defeated by something unexpectedly small. In the original novel, aliens don't die from human weapons or military strategy. They succumb to Earth's bacteria and germs. Independence Day updated this concept for the computer age. Instead of biological germs, David Levinson uses a digital virus to bring down the alien defense systems. 19. The speech almost cut. President Whitmore's famous pre-battle speech, now considered one of cinema's most inspiring moments, was almost completely removed from the film. When studio executives first viewed the scene, their reaction was surprisingly negative. Many thought the speech was too dramatic, too long, and potentially embarrassing. Some executives called it cheesy and over the top, worrying that modern audiences would find it ridiculous rather than inspiring. Director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin fought hard to preserve the scene, arguing it was the emotional heart of the entire film. When the movie was released, audiences proved the filmmakers absolutely right. The speech became the most quoted moment from the entire film. 20. 4-week script miracle. Perhaps the most shocking fact about Independence Day is that this epic blockbuster script was written in just 4 weeks. Most major Hollywood productions spend months or years developing their screenplays, but this story came together at lightning speed. The inspiration struck during a press interview for Stargate, when a reporter asked director Roland Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin a simple question: do you believe in aliens? That single question sparked immediate discussions about what would happen if extraterrestrials came to destroy rather than explore. Working late nights and marathon sessions, they crafted a story with humor, drama, spectacular action, and emotional depth. Which fact surprised you most? Let us know in the comments and subscribe.